let's get into this whole EV conversation, because the thing that I keep hearing people communicate to Anton from AntonDaniels.com is how unsustainable, how we shouldn't move over to EVs, how they're not better than internal combustion engines, and so on and so forth. And I keep trying to explain to them that if you've never actually owned an EV, if you've never had one in the driveway, you don't really know what you're missing. Brittany is crazy. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. If you have never owned an EV, if you don't understand the industry, if you don't understand what's going on, you will become a dinosaur like the industries previous. You will. You truly will. And so one of the problems and one of the biggest things that I was over here talking about Brandon Johnson. Don't worry about it. I was looking at Chicago stats. Don't worry, we'll get there. One of the things that people don't truly understand is what electric vehicles are, what they're doing, and then why it's important for us to truly understand it. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to embrace it, but you do need to understand it. So one of the things that happened over this weekend is Elon Musk requested $100 million from the U.S. government for an ambitious new project, and this is his plan. Now, just to give you the cliff notes, and I'll read a little bit of it just to give you the cliff notes, Elon Musk requested $100 million. Now, why would Elon Musk request $100 million? Just because he can? Nope, because he's in a position of power, and he's playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers. So when the auto industry and UAW and all of these people are playing checkers, the thing that I missed when I was evaluating whether or not Tesla was going to be a great company, and I was wrong about it very, very early around when they first started, but then I got on the bandwagon. I got my bread up as a result of it too. The thing that I missed about Tesla was that they were more than an auto manufacturer, and I was only looking at them based off of what they made and how profitable they can be and how many vehicles they manufactured, not realizing that A, they were going to scale up, B, they were a technology company, and C, they had a CEO that had a vision because he had a vested interest in seeing a company get successful. Hey, have y'all noticed that nobody that's really working at Tesla is complaining about working at Tesla? They not evaluating whether or not Elon Musk making $100 billion. They only worried about their own pockets. Because what's in the best interest of Elon Musk, because his compensation is largely tied to the success of the company, it's also what's best for the employee. But Elon Musk was playing chess when everybody else was playing checkers. And one of the ways he was playing chess is he said, listen, I'm not going to wait for the federal government in order to be able to sell my cars. We're going to be smarter, we're going to be faster, we're going to be more nimble, and we're going to be a technology company, and we're going to be innovative. And so we're not going to make money. He took Amazon's blueprint. Amazon, for over 10 years, never made money, and people said that it was a failing company, and now it is one of the most valued companies in the world, multi-trillion-dollar company. And so he didn't wait for it. He started to build the infrastructure. I never took that into consideration. He started to put money into research and development as far as the electrification, not just for cars, but not being interdependent on the grid also. So now that he invested in himself and he continued to prove out the technology and made it a lot cheaper, now you see all of these monkey see, monkey do companies are saying that we want to participate in the infrastructure plan too. And then Biden passed the infrastructure bill that then had a bunch of other stuff that y'all embraced as a result of it. And what happened? They allocated a certain amount of monies because we're going into this EV future, whether you like it or not. And that's the thing that people don't understand. You cannot like it, but we going there. And so how do you profit from it? Well, Elon Musk said, look, not only are we going to set the standard for what EV charging looks like, the different connectors that then determine whether or not you're going to use this particular connector back to the car from the EV nozzle in order to continue to power your car, they set the standards for it. They've even negotiated with Ford Motor Company and the Biden administration in order to allow for other cars that's not Tesla to be charged a fee in order to use the infrastructure that they've already built worldwide. And now he can go and say, well, you got all of this money that's allocated toward infrastructure. We want $100 million based off of the new products that we build, and we're going to build mega chargers now. we're going to be able to have semis go from California over to Tesla. Look, Tesla made waves when it delivered an order of all-electric semi-truck, aptly called the Semi, last year. Now the company may get funding from the American government to build mega charging stations for them between California and Texas. Now they're going to start building out the infrastructure for that. So while all of y'all sitting here saying, well, Anton, we don't have the infrastructure for it. You're not waiting for it. They already passed bills and they had lobbyists that advocated for it along with the semiconductor chips, and they getting their money over there. And they saying, listen, we want $100 million just to be able to build it from there. They're going to proof it out, and then they're going to start to expand it across. So now they don't even have to invest in the infrastructure no more. You're doing it with the taxpayer dollars by how it is that you voted for the person that you have in office. He said the automaker has requested $100 million from the United States government to build 9 charging stations. It's about $9 to $10 million, $11 million per charging station. According to Clean Technica and Bloomberg, the stations will strategically be positioned between Northern California and the southern border of Texas. Each station will feature up to 8 individual 750 kilowatt chargers, which is a lot, which means the semis can charge simultaneously at each of the 9 stations. He not only has the reach and the business acumen and the vision for continuing to mine out and get all of the money in order to build the infrastructure faster than the federal government can do it themselves, but he also understands that the relationships that he's built, which makes Tesla an even more powerful and dangerous company that you should, well, I'm not going to tell you what you should do, that I'm invested in. They get the majority of their contracts from the federal government as far as NASA in order to have SpaceX, because they do it much more efficiently, faster, and effectively. And then they're the ones that then built the space rockets that allow for us to continue to launch out all of the satellites and refuel the NASA space station. And now we got Space Force and stuff. And so there's money in innovation, but as long as you're able to play chess instead of playing checkers, like these UAW workers in leadership is saying, then you're never going to catch the wave. The company also urged Texas state officials to send requests to federal government on its behalf to encourage the approval of the funding. Well, why would Texas then do that? Because they've made the decision to get in bed with Tesla in order for them to build the Texas Gigafactory over in Austin. So now he has relationships and he can encourage them to lobby the federal government in order to do this also. The semi-prototype was unveiled in 2017, but the truck didn't hit the streets until 2022 when PepsiCo received 15 of the vehicles. So let's back up for a minute. I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to be reading those super chats shortly. I'm going to share with you partly the vision of why electric vehicles are coming. You can do nothing about it, and it's important for you to get on the bandwagon as a result of it. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I'm going to mine through some of this. Look at Sean Fain's. Good grief. Go ahead.
It's time to stand up against corporate greed. It's time to stand up for our communities.
That's Sean Fain. He's the head of the United Auto Workers.
He done got more famous than ever before. We didn't even know who Sean Fain was outside of the UAW until this auto strike, and now he's more famous than ever. He's standing on these little plank. Come on, man.
America's most storied unions. And as you can tell,
UAW family, I'll see you on the picket line.
He's not happy. Why? Well, his members are worse off, and there are fewer of them than just a few years ago. And a new threat is looming in the form of a technology that's crucial in the fight against climate change. Which
now you see, no. You see that right there? This is going to be y'all jobs in less than 10 years. Innovation is happening all over. See those robots? They can build them faster, more efficiently. They're not going to be asking for breaks. They ain't got to go and pick up their baby mamas, right? They ain't got to worry about calling off. As long as you have engineers that continue to keep these robots running, this is the future. This is all of this protesting. You ain't got to worry about security. We ain't got to worry about it. This is the innovation that's going to then replace you. And this is the things that they're building all. If you go and watch any of these videos, it's one of my favorite videos to throw on while I'm in my meetings or whatever like that, right? If you go and watch any of the videos where They show you what's happening over there in Germany. They see what's happening over in Tesla, these Chinese factories. This is your replacement. They faster, they stronger, they effective, they don't go to sleep. All you got to do is keep them oiled, and they will build that thing 10 times out of 10 more effective, and you ain't got to worry about no quality problems. JD Power and Associates is going to love them for it. This is your replacement.
Fear will lead to even fewer jobs and lower pay. Electric vehicles. So on September 15th, the union called a strike.
Y'all better develop a skill before I get into this video. Y'all better develop a skill. Go and listen. The days of being able to graduate high school and thinking that you're just going to come out making $100,000 a year, is it possible today? Yup. Is it going to be possible in the future? Nope. You need to develop a skill. I'll get into that in a minute.
Affecting all of the big three Detroit car makers, Ford, GM, and the company that owns Chrysler, Stellantis.
Big Three got plenty of money. Give us some of that money.
That had never happened before. It was a massive roll of the dice and could prove to be a make or break moment. As the U.S. heads into an election year, the future of blue-collar workers in America's industrial heartland is on the table.
I seen well, I'm going to save that. I'm going to share what my thoughts are at the end. I'm going to move over into a particular part of the stream. Let me make sure I get there. I want to talk about that. I want to get here. All right, so let's talk about electric vehicles. I want to show y'all what the difference is.
Vehicle, right? There are less moving parts.
An internal combustion engine can have as many as 2,000 moving parts, while an EV powertrain has as few as 20.
It takes 40.
An internal combustion engine can have a few thousand parts. A Tesla or an electric engine can have the equivalent of 20. They don't care about how your car sound, if you can't do burnouts, if you don't like the exhaust and all of this other type. They don't care nothing about that. Let me tell you something. It all comes back down to the money. An internal combustion and the spark plugs, all of this. Listen, this is not just going to affect the people that make the cars. This is going to affect the servicing. This is going to affect the dealership experience. Tesla has already innovated and said you ain't even got to go through a dealership. You can come online, order the vehicle, we deliver it over to you. The only thing we're going to have it for is for a service center. A few thousand parts, which is also thousands and thousands and millions of jobs, are now being reduced to 20 that can all be built in-house by robots. They're not just doing it whether you like it. They're going to market it to you, helping you to understand that it's much more efficient and profitable. This is one of the reasons why the margins are much greater with electric vehicles, and that's why they're trying to drive the cost out versus what it costs them to be able to research and develop and then manufacture them today. This is happening whether you like it or not.
It takes 40% less labor to assemble, so that means there will be fewer jobs in those areas.
Car makers are working with the unions to retrain the existing workforce for the jobs that will remain, but demographics may also factor into the equation.
The average worker in an automotive factory in Germany is around 55 years old. What does that mean? It means they're going to leave the workforce pretty soon anyhow.
And they know that not only do y'all not want to work, y'all lazy, y'all want a whole bunch of money. So now we let more workers come over here. We're giving them ability to work with the migrant crisis, and we're going to innovate in order to protect themselves against a labor shortage that they've been experiencing for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and that nobody wants to do these jobs anymore.
Which is quite favorable for the car makers because they will simply not replace a lot of these workers.
But the UAW is fighting to...
When you don't replace the workers, it's not layoffs, it's called attrition. That means as people leave, you can just start moving people around and continue to innovate. That way you don't have to add jobs for the ones that was replaced.
Prevent just that, the closure of factories through a process of attrition.
It is not necessarily a foregone conclusion that the U.S. will be able to make this transition without some real casualties along the way.
The competition is
and guess who's going to be the casualty? Sean Fain's workforce. The people that are on the front lines are going to be the ones that get slaughtered first. The people on the front, let me tell you something. I got to save my thoughts. Let me save my thoughts.
stiff. China is the biggest player in EVs, dominating not only batteries, but the supply chain of raw materials as well. Chinese manufacturer BYD may overtake Tesla as the world's biggest electric vehicle maker. But due to tariffs the US slaps on Chinese cars, the big threat to the American auto industry's status quo is non-union battery factories, like the one Tesla and Panasonic operate in Nevada.
Look at that factory. Look at that factory. Ain't no houses around. Ain't nothing but sunlight, sand, and then they starting to install the solar panels at the top of that factory. That's what you're going to be replaced with. All white factory, solar panels on the top. They ain't got to worry about nothing and nobody. All the machines are just going to run that mug and it's going to be popping.
With their own battery plants just starting to open, GM, Ford, and Stellantis fear that they'll operate at a serious cost disadvantage if only their plants are unionized.
And they will. And you're going to see Biden out there saying, give them a livable fair wage. Meanwhile, Biden is over here in bed. Listen. Let me tell you what the difference is. Biden is over here having a good old conversation and funding the infrastructure and giving Elon Musk, having conversations with him about opening up his charging network, passing an infrastructure bill, and then possibly is going to give him hundreds of millions of dollars to continue to build out, maybe even billions of dollars to build out the infrastructure while he's sitting here finessing y'all for votes and acting like he's on the picket lines. And you got people in the UAW really believing that this guy is in their best interest while he's building. He literally passed the infrastructure bill that you guys voted him in for. He showed y'all it. And then he's in bed with the very people that he's going to help replace your jobs with. But then he's standing on the lines talking about how he needs to advocate for a higher wage for the people. Can y'all not see the play? Good God almighty. I cannot believe that y'all getting finessed like this.